everyone, welcome back to my channel Code with Hafiz. Today guys, I'm going to show you how to read from the database in single page applications. So let's start guys. Let's open our project in text editor. Now in here, let's go to our resources, JS components and welcome component. Well, we want to fetch our data to the root component, which is this welcome component. So first of all, let's create a row in here, and let's also create a co-MD of 10 and move these two inside this call MD. And let's also justify the content to the center using a bootstrap class. So justify content not around, center. And now if we go back, refresh. Oh, we have to run our watch. So open a command prompt window. Let me zoom it a little bit. Now let's first go to our project folder. So cd //64/www/Laravel Vue. And let's run yarn run watch. So our code has been compiled successfully guys. Now if we go back to the browser and refresh, it should work. Well, let's force refresh. Yeah, you saw that this button came a little bit to the left, so it means our column D is working. Now let's get back to our code and let's copy these two from here. And after this row, let's first put a break and paste it. Let's close these divs also. Now inside here, what I want to do is create a table. So let's say table.table with a class of table. So let's create our t-head and tr and th. Let's duplicate it. The first one is for the count. The second one is, let's say, name of the employee. Third one is for the position of the employee. This one should be for the email, and this one should be for actions. For example, edit and delete. Now after this t-head, let's create our t-body and tr and our tds. Yeah. But before going any further, let's get the data from the database using Vue.js and Axios. So if I scroll down, let's first create our data object. So data parenthesis and curly brackets. Let's also put our comma. And inside here, let's create an object of employees, which should be a collection. Well, before that guys, we forgot to return. So return employees. Now after that, let's create our methods field. And in here we want to create a method by the name of get employees. And inside this method, let's say axios.get, and the endpoint should be, let's say, index. And we want a then function. So response fat arrow curly brackets. Inside here, let's say this dot employees. We want to store the response inside the employees object. So this dot employees should equal to response dot data. Well, let's comment this one for now guys. Let's fetch the data to the console. So let's say console.log and response.data. And we also want the catch field for any errors. So errors, fat arrow, curly brackets, and console.log errors. So guys, to run this method, when we start our application, we have to put this method in our mounted functionality. So let's remove this console.log and instead let's say this dot get employees and parentheses. So it will run this get employees function or method when our application starts. So now the next part is to create this index endpoint in our routes file. So let's go to routes web.php, and in here, before everything guys, one thing more that I want to share with you is that move your routes to the top to not get any errors in the future, because if you put the routes after this any route, so it will throw errors. So move it to the top. Let's create another route, or guys, we can duplicate this one. So this one should be index, and the endpoint should be also index, and for the method let's say get. Now let's create this index method in our controller. So let's go to app http controllers and employee controller, and at the bottom let's say public function index, and inside this method first we want to grab the data and store it in a variable. So let's create a variable by the name of emps, which should equal to employee model colon. Well, we want to order the data by descending, so let's say order by, and we want to order by ID, and it should be descending or desk. And finally we can say arrow get, which will get all the data from the database. And after getting the data we have to return it to the response. So return response parenthesis arrow JSON, and inside this JSON method let's say emps, so it will return the data as JSON. I think guys we are finished. Now let's try our code. So if you go back to the browser, let's refresh, and let's go to inspect console. You can see we have an array which has one item, and if I open it you can see we have the employee from the database. And if we go back to the local host and employees table, you can see we have only one employee by the name of Hafizullah. So it means our code is working just fine. Now let's pass this data to this array and show it in this table. So let's go back to our code and go to this welcome component and uncomment this line and remove this console, or let's just comment it. Now how to check this one? Well, you have to install this Vue extension in your browser. And now if I refresh, go to this Vue and go to welcome component, you can see the employees object, which is this employees object. It has one object in its array, and that is that username that we have in our database. So our code is working just fine. Now let's create a for loop. So for this tier we can say v-for, and let's put our parentheses. We want to name the variable employee, and we also want the index of the array, so in employees, and we want our key, which should be index 2. Now first we want to echo or show the count, so we can put index of the array in here but plus 1, because the index of array starts from 0. Well, in the next array let's put our name, so employee.name, and let's copy this from here and paste it here. This one should be position, and the third one should be email, and the last one should is for actions, in which we can put our buttons. So first one should be for edit. Let's give it a class also, which should be btn-success. Let's duplicate this one. This one should be for delete, which should be danger. Now if I go back, refresh, yeah, you can see we are getting the data. So guys, this was how to fetch the data and read the data from the database in our single page applications using Laravel and Vue.js. Well, the only thing that is left for this video, guys, is to check our create functionality, because we want to check if we create a new employee, so this fetch data should update. So let's go to create. Let's say this one should be Jack, and position should be employee, and email should be jack@email.com. Now if I say create, I should be able to see the data in my table. So let's say create. Yeah, you can see it has been put at the top of all the data, which is cool, and our data is fetching correctly. So everything is working fine. So I hope, guys, you like the video, and if you like it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe also if you are new to this channel. So the only thing that is left with our CRUD of single page application is the edit and delete functionality. So in our next video, hopefully we will work on this edit functionality of our application. So see you guys in the next video.